We are live here on Joy News, independent, fearless, and credible. My name is Elton Brobe. It is midweek. We are counting down to Easter. And of course, we are live on your X Spaces, on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course, on myjoyonline.com. It's always a pleasure to have you here on the pulse. Now, this afternoon, we are live on DSTV channel 421, Go TV 125, and everywhere you are watching us from. This is Joy News, independence, fearless, and credible. Now, the MPP reaches a critical crossroad this afternoon as the party officially confronts the reasons behind the 2024 elections defeat in a bid to chart a bold path to reclaim power in 2028. And of course, the leadership of the MPP, they've gathered at the Aliza Hotel here in the capital, and they are there to find the reasons behind the party's electoral defeat and find ways to rebuild the party ahead of victory in 2028. Also this afternoon, the fate of your biometric data is uncertain as Minister for Communication reveals he cannot locate it over 60 days in office.
In no single instance, they say they registered 39,900,000, a few shy of 40 million SIM cards. Not one of the almost 40 million SIM cards they registered was verified against the NIA.
But the question is your data in danger? We'll delve into the implications of this for the country. We'll find out from cybersecurity experts on what to make of this developing story from the Ministry of Communication. Also this afternoon, the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, says that no one can prevent President Mahama from consulting the Council of State on the potential removal of the Chief Justice, emphasizing that the execution of a constitutional duty cannot be obstructed.
He has to understand that this is the performance of a constitutional duty, all right? And the law is very clear that you cannot enjoin the performance of a constitutional or public obligation.
And of course, Parliament's Trade Min Committee promises more tax waivers for industries to support job creation agenda in the country.
Whatever we will do to support in the form of tax release and others, we will be ready to champion your cause on the floor of Parliament. And because we want to encourage companies that are doing well to expand.
Of course, later in our climate focus series, NADMO conducts simulation exercise to equip emergency responders ahead of the rainy season.
It's important that we do simulation exercise because without simulations, it's going to be very difficult to identify the gaps.
Of course, these and many more coming here on the pulse, here on Joy News. Your comments are welcome via social media handles. My name is Elton, but when we settle down, we'll tell you what the MPP is out and about in search of truth after the 2024 general election. Stay put. Well, let's settle for the details now. My name is Elton Brobe, and of course, this afternoon, our major focus is the MPP search for truth in the 2024 general elections. The party hierarchy, including former President Akufo-Addo, the flag bearer for the party, Dr. Bawumia, and of course, Macho Puku Prempeh, and all the leading members of the party are gathered at the Aliza Hotel. They are to peruse the committee that was set up to talk to people and then tell them why the party lost so badly in the 2024 election. That meeting is ongoing. When we have the few, we'll take you live to Aliza Hotel for the very latest. But in the studio this afternoon, the Supreme Court has adjourned to May 6 hearing for the injunction application against the procedure initiated by President Mahama to, as it were, potentially remove Chief Justice Gertrude Tokodu from office. In a brief ruling, chairperson of the 5-member panel, Her Ladyship Justice Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu, stated that due to unavoidable reasons, the case had to be adjourned to May 6. Legal Affairs correspondent Latif Idusu was in court this morning, and he joins me in this. So Latif, tell us what went down in court today.
Yes, so the case was called as scheduled at 9:30. There were two cases, two for judgment actually. So those two cases were called, and then this one was supposed to be the third. Now, when the justices appeared on the panel, we noticed there were only 4.
Instead of 5.
Instead of 5. So amongst ourselves, we started discussing what's going on. And then prior to that, Dr. Aine, who is the Attorney General, and his predecessor, Godfrey Adame, had been called in chambers by the justices. We do not know what they went in there to discuss. But just as they stepped out of that meeting, news started making rounds within the Supreme Court building that one of the justices is unavailable. And so potentially we could have this case being adjourned at a future date. And so when they finally came and sat, Her Ladyship Justice Henrietta Mensah Bonsu quickly took over and mentioned that we have had a discussion in chambers. And so that is what I want to put to you in open court. So she made it clear that we've had some problems, and I'm trying to quote exactly what she said. We've had some problems, and so due to unavoidable reasons, this case has to be adjourned. And so she said that, and both lawyers, Godfrey Adame and Dr. Aine, both accepted it and said she proposed May the 6th. We can speculate and say maybe they had agreed on these dates when they went into chambers. Yeah, and so that was what happened. And so the case itself was not called at all. And we spoke to Dr. Aine. If you recall, last week when the case was adjourned, Dr. Aine was not in court, but Godfrey Adame was in court. And then he was speaking to newsmen, and he mentioned the fact that because the case is currently at the Supreme Court, processes have been filed at the Supreme Court, he expects the president to suspend his consultation process
onto the determination of the case.
Of the case at the court. Today, I asked Dr. Aine what he makes of that position the former Attorney General holds, that all processes, consultation, procedure must be halted for the president until a final determination of the Supreme Court on this particular matter. And this is what Dr. Aine had to say.
To hear the case, it's not mine to make, all right? And the reason why we were absent at the last agenda date was because we organized a training far ahead of the date that was given to us by the court. And the training was for all state attorneys, all right, by the ECOWAS Court of Justice. So they were being trained on the procedures and rules of the ECOWAS Court of Justice. And because of that, I was deeply involved in the training. My deputy was deeply involved in the training. The ECOWAS delegation that was doing the training was here in Accra. And we just asked for a date. Lawyers ask for this all the time when they are constrained and cannot be available in court. So for you to interpret that to mean that we are not willing, to go along with this process is totally unacceptable.
Right, so Lateef is still here with me. So Lateef, a lot went on after the in-camera meeting between the Attorney General and the former Attorney General, and then the outcome of their deliberation with the presiding judge over this matter.
Yeah.
But you spoke to him on other matters.
Yes, if you also recall, Godfrey Adame had also made the case that, first of all, because the case is at the Supreme Court, the president must hold on. He also accused the Attorney General of not showing up in court because he doesn't want the case to be heard. Again, Dr. Aine made the case that whether the case is heard at the Supreme Court or otherwise doesn't lie within his purview, and that he doesn't have any control over such decision.
I haven't spoken with the president yet, and I cannot give any definitive answer to the question whether the consultation will continue.
What's your advice to him because of the pending
the president and the Republic are my clients. I will not advise my client publicly.
The last time the former Attorney General spoke, he said he expects nothing but the president to hold on the processes. Is that what is happening?
Well, he has filed an application in court. The court is here to make an order. So if he says that the president must hold on, is he saying that the court has already granted an order in respect of which the president, must not continue the process, right? first of all, he has to understand that this is the performance of a constitutional duty, all right? And the law is very clear that you cannot enjoin the performance of a constitutional or public obligation. And so, for me, I don't see the point that he's trying to make by saying that the president must hold on to the process of consultation.
His argument is that because of what is happening here at the Supreme Court, the president ought to hold on.
Well, that is why I have said the president is performing a constitutional duty, and the law is very clear that you cannot enjoin the performance of a public obligation.
What do you make of today's adjournment? The adjournment?
No, the adjournment is to May 6th. So, because one of the panel members was not, was unavoidably absent, and so the court has adjourned it to the 6th of May.
Right, so we'll have to wait till May 6th before we'll get to understand how long this case will travel. But again, you may recall there are 3 petitions to the president. These petitions were forwarded to the Council of State. The Council of State made their own judgment on it. The petition went back to the presidency, then went to the Chief Justice for her to respond within 10 days. Her response has come in. And then it's unclear whether there is a case for her to answer, pending the advice that the Council of State will provide. Meanwhile, the minority in Parliament has weighed in on the petition seeking the removal of the Chief Justice from the office. Speaking at a news conference today, legal counsel to the minority caucus, John Darkman, described the petitions as significant setback to Ghana's democratic progress. He also described some of the claims captured in the petition as ridiculous and a ruse to get the president to suspend the Chief Justice.
Of the above, that we see that the spurious petition for the removal of the CJ as a serious setback to our democratic journey. We are aware of the petition. The purpose of the petition, we have gathered, is to malign the head of the judiciary, orchestrate her removal, and thereby silencing the judiciary, and finally, to exert control. We are aware of the plans, and here I want to repeat again. We are aware of plans being hatched to invoke Article 14610A to suspend the CJ, to appoint somebody who is a known sympathizer of the current NDC government to act as the Chief Justice of the Republic.
Right, now let's focus on our main discussion this afternoon. The New Patriotic Party stands at a critical crossroad this afternoon as it seeks to pinpoint the real causes behind the crushing defeat in the 2024 general elections. Now, one of the worst in the party's recent history. The law sent waivers through the party's ranks, triggering blame and finger-pointing among its top figures. Now, in response, the party commissioned a committee to investigate the defeat. Today, that committee is presenting its official findings at the High States Conference with key party figures, including former President Nana Akufo-Addo and former flag bearer Dr. Mamadou Bawumia, in attendance to help chart a new course for the party. Professor Michael Quay led that committee and is expected to present his findings to the committee. Now, my colleague Kenneth Biasi is live at the Lisa Hotel. Let me run to him now and understand what really is going on. So, Kenneth, the meeting, is it underway?
It's currently underway, Elton, and it has been underway for a few hours now. And as you rightly mentioned, former President Akufo-Addo, Dr. Mamadou Bawumia, and also the running mate of the party, Matthew Opoku Prempeh, and other bigwigs of the party, including minority leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin, have all gathered here. And if viewers will recall, immediately after the defeat, the mammoth defeat of the New Patriotic Party in December, they set up a 12-member committee, which was headed by the former Speaker of Parliament, Aaron Michael Okwei, to investigate the circumstances that led to that defeat. They were given a period of 3 months to come up with their findings. The deadline was the 31st of March 2025, and today is the D-Day that they are going to do the presentation here at Alisa Hotel. And prior to that, there were a lot of controversies around that. Elton, you had an interview with former Domi Kwabenya MP Sarah Adjoa Safo, who called that committee as a bogus one and anti-Bawumia, and of course went as far as daring the former Speaker of Parliament, Aaron Michael Quay, to in fact investigate what happened or what led to the defeat of his son, Michael Quay Jr., in the Domi Kwabenya constituency, which until last year was considered a safe seat for the new Patriotic Party. Michael Quay himself had been MP there before. Sarah Adjoa Safo had also been MP there before. And they were looking forward to continuing to make that seat an MPP, but it didn't happen that way. And early in the day, the running mate of the new Patriotic Party, Matthew Opoku Prempeh, had a brief talk with the media where he said that the party should come together and accept the outcome of the meeting, and he said that he has no presidential ambition, at least not until 2028. He's not vying to go for the presidential seat in 2028, but he's calling for unity. He wants the party to unite and come together, accept the outcome, and then they rebuild and look forward ahead. And then, mind you, there was another finding in the Ashanti region, which was conducted at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, which came out that Matthew Opoku Prempeh, who was the flag bearers running mate in the 2024 election, was part of the reasons why they lost that election. And many of them were saying that former Education Minister Yaose Educhum would have been a better running mate to Mahmoud Bawumia than Matthew Opoku Prempeh. So we are waiting to see whether the outcome of this will mirror that of the ones that were done in the Ashanti region, or we are going to see a different kind of outcome. So as we speak now, though, there are a lot of things that they're going to do. Apart from that deliberation, there's also going to be the NEC meeting, that is the National Executive Council meeting, which will involve all the hierarchy of the party. We have Hackman Osuajeman also here as well. Other big wigs of the party. I've seen the minority MPs, a lot of them also trooping to discuss really what is the way forward for the party after suffering that defeat in 2024. So there's a bit of talk here. They are deciding on, what the report or the outcome of the report is going to be, and also they are going to have their usual NEC executive meeting here at Alisa Hotel. So all of them are currently indoors. Apart from Matthew Opoku Prempeh, who had a brief chat with us, none of them have spoken to us yet, and we are still on standby to see what the outcome of that particular meeting is going to be. And of course, a lot of people are looking forward to that report. Some contemplations are whether or not they will make it public or not, because, I've been hearing from the corners of Alisa Hotel that if the findings are damning, it is likely that it will not be made public. But of course, it is a political party and they work with numbers. So a lot of their supporters will be expecting that they make that findings public. So as we speak now, the meeting is currently underway. We do not know what time it will end, but the bigwigs of the party, all the people that matter within the new Patriotic Party, are here for that particular meeting.
Do you see party supporters around? Are they nosing around to sort of understand what really is going on?
Yes, of course. There are a few party supporters who are, lurking around to see what is happening. Of course, there's been a few whispers. They've started the blame games, blaming some factions within the party. Others are also surprised that they have not seen one of the biggest contenders in the presidential primaries of the New Patriotic Party, Kennedy Ejapon, here. They are wondering where he could be, while others are also speculating that perhaps if the report comes out and it implicates him, he will be called to answer a few questions. So we have pockets of supporters who are lurking around to see what is really happening, but not many of them. A few of them that have gathered here, are whispering a bit that they still haven't recovered from the mammoth defeat they suffered on December 7th. So a few of them are still around now, and we will be on the lookout to see if we can get any of them to speak to us. But as we speak now, though, we can see some movement. Okay, let's go. The former Speaker of Parliament, Aaron Michael Quay, is coming out. Is coming out now, and let's see if we can get an interview or two. Right, Honourable, would you like to share with us the outcome of that report?
As the Secretary.
You were the chairman of that 12-member committee.
Secretary General of the party.
So you have officially handed it over to them, the report? Have you officially handed over the report to them?
No comments, no more.
Okay, so that's the chairman of that 12-member committee that was set up to investigate the outcome of that particular election defeat suffered by the New Patriotic Party. So if we want anything if we want to find out anything, we should seek clarity from the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Justin Kodia. Final one, Right Honourable. Former MP for Domi Kwabenya, Sarah Adjourns, described this committee as a bogus one and said that if you want to investigate the defeat, you could start with investigating Michael Quay Jr. What's your take on that? Okay, he's decided not to comment on that as well, but that's the former Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Aaron Michael Quay, who is the chairman of that 12-member committee. I've asked him a few questions, though, but he's refused to answer them. I put to him whether he considered also investigating what transpired within the Domi Kwabenya constituency, where he has been an MP before, where Sarah Adjourns, a three-time member of Parliament, accused his son, Mike Okoye Jr., for causing the defeat of the party in that constituency, which until 2024 was considered a safe seat for the MPP. So he came in a bit late, Michael Quay, and then he's leaving quite early. So the indication is that he's done with what he came to do, that is to present his findings to the New Patriotic Party. As we speak now, as we speak, he's the only he's the only high-profile member of the party who has left the place right now. But I mean, the rest, including former President Akufo-Addo, the flag bearer of the MPP in the 2024 elections, Mahmoud Bawumia, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, minority leader, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, running mate, they are all inside. But it appears that the job of Professor Michael Aaron Okoye is done, and he's left. And he's told us that if we want anything, we should seek more clarity from the executives of the party, that is the General Secretary of the party, Justin Kodia. I've seen a few familiar faces around. I've seen Oheneba of Wood-to-me. You are, a staunch member of the New Patriotic Party. You are here today. What are your expectations of that report?
Good afternoon to your listeners and your viewers. It is only one thing. We are looking at a report that responds to the concerns of the masses of the people, the concerns outside the members of the NPP, the concerns that represent the solutions to the forward march of the New Patriotic Party. And so generally, that is the expectation of the many people who are waiting for this report.
Okay. Would you be surprised of anything?
Not at all. It does appear that most of the issues that are in the for discussion of the party are bare. Many of us are talking about it. It looks as if we are even in the known of the many factors that left us to this bizarre election results. And so nothing seems to be surprised at us at any time. Because already we have started having the discussion on our own even before the presentation of the report to the public.
Okay, respectfully, I want us to take a walk to the entrance of Alisa Hotel and continue the conversation. I mean, already we knew that there were factions within the party. The Bawumia camp, we also knew of the Kennedy Japan camp. Do you think that there's a way to uniting the party after this?
We have no choice. We have no choice. And I think looking at the happenings within the party after the 2024 elections, we have all come to understand that without unity, we can't make it. We have experienced this before in 1998 at the Sunyani Congress. It was so much intense, it was so much acrimony ahead of President Kufuor's election as the flag bearer of the party, and we're able to come out stronger and stronger than we used to be. And then, God willing, 2000, we won the general elections and had majority in parliament. And I think that the NPP has been there before. We still have the men and women who are able to sit down, analyze situations, criticize where criticism is needed, and then come up with solutions and a roadmap that will take us out of where we are.
Okay, thank you very much. That is Ohineba. He's a journalist at Wuntumi FM and radio in the Ashanti region. So, I mean, he says that he's open to everything, and of course the party has no option than to unite, regardless of what today's report will be like. So we're still waiting. We're still lurking around to see what the end results is going to be. And as I mentioned earlier, so far we've only seen Professor Aaron Okwe, who has left the premises. He's the chairman of that 12-member committee that was set up specifically for this job.
And of course, Kenneth will stay with us from the Alisa Hotel, where the MPP bigwigs, including former President Nana Akufo-Addo, the flag bearer in the last election, Dr. Bawumia, his running mate, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, and the executives of the party are meeting. As we just saw there, Professor Mike Okwe, who led the 12-member committee to investigate why the party lost the 2024 election, he's presented his report to the General Secretary of the party. Now, what is going to happen is that the party will now peruse the content of that report, and then we'll take some decisions on it. In times past, the reports also remained a secret to the party. Content really came out, but we'll see how this one will unfold as we try to understand what went wrong for the MPP in the 2024 general elections. But so we'll take you back to the Alisa Hotel when they are done and ready to address the media. Dr. Richard Amwakumba is a political scientist. One time in his life, he contested to become the national chairman of the MPP, but was unsuccessful. And he joins me via Zoom. Dr. Amwakumba, good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you here, sir. So the MPP, they've met at Alisa Hotel in search of truth. Is this truth already known to them, or they just want to see it in black and white?
Well, the young man you spoke to said something. It is the supporters that you need to tell you what went wrong, not the big guys. You see, and yet this is what they are doing. The main supporters, the people who are upset, who didn't vote, these are the ones who should tell you what went wrong. Not you using textbook or whatever to decide what you think went wrong. Here's the kicker. MPP 2024 will break the 8. No, so breaking the 8, breaking the 8, breaking the 8. That means you've done very well. And yet, this is the very time you did the worst. Well, what are you saying about that? That tells you that you didn't even know what hit you. You didn't know. If you know that the tsunami that big was coming, you would have taken steps to change things. Nothing was changed, which means you were completely unaware of the anger of the people. That is the problem. They are still doing it. You think you can use the so-called big wigs to win an election? How many are they? This is the problem. They are stuck in their own ways.
But
yes, go ahead.
Yes, Dr. Bam, as I don't know whether I should describe you as a former member or still a member of the MPP.
I'm not a member. Even if today I'll quit, I don't think I want to join it anymore.
So you are no longer a member of the MPP?
Yes, I'm not a member now.
All right, great. But in time past, the MPP, after every general election, will undertake this exercise to understand what may have gone wrong, how best they can improve on where they went wrong. So clearly, it's an exercise that a political party, any political party were to sort, would undertake after every major election, whether the party won or lost.
Yes, it's a good exercise, but party officials must know the pulse of the party. You don't have to go and ask someone before you know what is going on in the party. The sentiments of the supporters, you have to know. You live in Accra and have meetings in Accra, and you are supposed to talk about people in Agona. How is that going to work? This is the problem. This exercise they did to find out what went wrong, it shouldn't have been just one person. How many regions? How people, I know money is an issue, but everybody is responsible for one region. It cannot be that the Ashanti region sentiments are the same as Volta region.
Right.
Or other places. And so that you have all the myriad of reasons why it didn't go well. And yet you come up with one person, Michael Quay, which I just suppose has pretty much rubbish. And I agree. He was part of the problem. How then does he become the person to investigate what went wrong? Has he investigated himself? The MPs were saying that they don't want him anymore because he was running roughshod over them. He doesn't listen to them. And yet the president stuck with him. And the result, you all know. How do you do it? Is he the only person left in the party? No. There are so many elementary issues they cannot address. They are not doing it properly.
If I can just take you to the Ashanti region briefly, and this is the outcome of a similar committee that was set up by the regional secretariat, led by the former majority leader, Oseche Mensah Bonsu. And in the executive summary of the report he presented to the regional secretariat of the party, he says the general economic hardship in the country during the period under review, a perception of corruption tag, the leadership style of President Akufo-Addo, which people perceived as single-minded and intransigent, the perception that government was controlled by the family of President Akufo-Addo, the perception that the president single-handedly controlled the party, the perception that candidate Bawumia was a shadow of President Akufo-Addo, the perception that he was involved in the Mampusi-Kusase conflict, ineffective operational coordination on election day, the perception that President Akufo-Addo's government neglected the Ashanti in the development of infrastructure. Would you say that this probably may sit well in the national perception of the party ahead of the 2024 elections?
Yes, indeed. Everybody knows this. You don't have to go and do a research before you find out that Nanado was completely unpopular because of his stance dealing with chiefs, economy, finance minister, MPs, you name it. Where did he go right anytime? And so that one this is known. This is not what is important. And we don't need any more speeches from the former president and the others. We don't need speeches. This is where you get down. They are the ones who have messed it up. Let them keep quiet. And listen to the ordinary people, what they saw. That is what is needed. Not big guys giving speeches again. No, because many people are afraid to speak up. Look, the Info Analytic research said that 67% of Ghanaians, 67% of MPP people thought Nanado is the cause of the defeat. When they went to a meeting, I think 2 days ago, people started making the allegation that, no, it's not the case. That is not why we lost. It is because we presented the wrong candidate. Where did that come from? Or on what authority do you have to say such a thing? Who gave you that inclination? What poll did you conduct? You see, what is the right candidate anyway? What is the right candidate? That means the president is behind this whole thing, trying to deflect attention from himself that he is the cause of the failure and put it on something else. This is what is going on. It means the problem is still there. He hasn't even accepted his share of the blame. A leader must accept a share of the blame in such defeat, colossal defeat, and yet he refuses to accept it. Instead, you say is the wrong candidate. Who is the right candidate? You ran election for 3 times before you won. Was your defeat the first time shown to be the wrong candidate? No. You won again second time, wrong candidate? No. It was the third time that you won. So what is the basis of it?
Because you brought in the info analytics survey, perhaps I can help walk you through the conclusion of the latest one they did on who is to hold the biggest blame in the MPP's defeat. And that is what you have on your screens now. Canada Japan, yes. 9%, members of parliament, 26%, government appointees, 32%, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, who was the running mate in the last election for the MPP, 33%, Dr. Bawumia himself, who led the MPP in the 2024 elections, 37%, Ken Ofori-Atta, if the former finance minister, 40%, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, according to the Info Analytics report, responsibility for MPP defeat in the 2024 election, he alone takes 68%. And I wonder, is it because of the policies he spearheaded or what? Because, I mean, the government under Akufo-Addo made sure that, I mean, everybody had access to secondary education. And some said that the MPP, in a way, was cultivating the next eligible voters in the country, such that it was going to be impossible for the MPP, for the NDC, for example, to win any election. Because if the beneficiaries of the free SHS are the ones who at some point in our lives will determine who leads the country, then MPP was in a better position. Yet, the man who spearheaded these programs is taking the bigger blame for the defeat of the party in the last elections.
Partly because the program was a complete failure. You see, it was a failure. Look at education now. It's worse than before. What kind of government is this that does not provide textbooks? Can you actually get educated without reading? No textbooks. Instead, you buy past questions. What is that? It's irresponsible. It means all you are doing is to win points, no matter what happens, you see. So, look, as parents, I will tell you, children go to school, they don't have food to eat. They're just going ahead. They have grown very slim. If you don't send food to your ward, she or he is in trouble. This is what is going on, right? And yet, you will not address it and say, okay, oh, I don't know what to say. But the education system, no, it's a failure. Failure, no food. How do they learn? And the teachers, they don't get tired, continuous work. Also, no time to have any vacation or rest. Keep going. There are machines. All of that must be looked at. And so everything they do is memorization. Education is not memorization. Or it's not text either. It's comprehension of what is being taught. So you can apply it anywhere. We don't understand that. Everything MPP did was to gain points, to show this or show that. That is not what government does. No, government does what is necessary, regardless of what the result will be. We are always looking to win points. Everything we do. I'm talking about MPP.
But as a political scientist, what do we expect the MPP to do now? Now I'm sure that in that closed door session, the General Secretary is taking them through the recommendation of the committee. And then, of course, whether or not they will abide by it or not, that's another matter for discussion. But as a political scientist, what do we expect of the party going forward?
My ideas are completely different from what they are. As I've said, you didn't see this tsunami coming. How then should you be the one to tell us what went wrong? You were there, you didn't see it coming. For you to take action to forestall it or prevent it. Now you are coming to tell us what went wrong. What good is it? What good is it? It's after the fact. But political parties don't act after the fact. You intervene with programs, for example, VHS. They should have come and said, okay, right now we meant well, but the money issue has become unpredictable, and therefore we'll have for parents to help. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that? Only a crazy person would say there's something wrong with it. You want to show off that, yes, you said you're going to do something, and you met it, and you did it, and even though you know you didn't do it. What kind of nonsense is that? That makes no sense. You are killing yourself by peddling misinformation. The children are not doing well. You want to say they are doing well. Okay, go ahead. Everything is politics. No, education should not be politics.
But again, you, I know, run for the position of national chairman of the MPP. In the report that we can only speak to, and this is the one that Ose Chairman Sabonsi, the former majority leader, led in the Ashanti region. Among the recommendations that they are making to the party is to find a way to demonetize the internal electoral process such that competent people are elected rather than selling the position to people who may have bigger pockets. Because you run for national chair, I just want to find out what best way to do it. I mean, this run through all the political parties, MPP, NDC. Ose Chairman Sabonsi committee says that there must be a second look at this matter because it is making it difficult for the party to be attractive, especially at the base.
Yes, you see, Mr. Probe, I saw trouble come. 4 years ago, I saw trouble come. And this is why I ran for national chair. Not because I wanted post or anything. Because I thought if I could get that position, I could advise the president appropriately. I could slow things down and point out the problems that are coming. But of course, it was all monetized. They brought Teddy Blay and they put a lot of money in him at the voting venue. Two of us, myself and the team, suggested that you should allow people to say a few things so you know who you are voting for. They refused. They refused that. Teddy Blay didn't say it. So the one who didn't say anything, his views were the one that was taken. How is it possible? How? Every step of the way, Nanado controlled the party. This is a colossal defeat. And so he should take responsibility for it. No doubt at all. No shenanigans, nothing else. He should take responsibility for it and beg his party members, forgive him. This is what you do. And step away from the front. Go and set that back a little bit. Because if you have become this unpopular, the people who see you, they get upset. It is reflected onto the party. He doesn't know that. I don't understand him. I don't understand what he wants. For you to do this badly and still want to be in charge of the party, what do you think is going to happen? It means that all this action you are taking, it's all rubbish. He doesn't accept it. As if he knows himself what went wrong. Or maybe he thinks money will take care of everything. I don't know.
And then is it also possible, Doctor, that, for example, the party would develop a comprehensive code of conduct as recommended by this committee to regulate the conduct of party officers to deal with the perception of corruption? The code can be developed, but enforcing it, are the parties in a position to enforce them?
You can't enforce it. The people who are supposed to enforce it are the ones who are in charge. How are you going to do that? This is precisely the reason why we saw that, no, you cannot reform this party from within. You have to let them have the party, let them have it, form a new one. And this is the reasons behind the Patriotic People's Front. The name is not stuck. This is tentatively, right? Is it possible we'll change it to something else as we go along? But we have to start. Pretty much we have given up hope in these people. What they are doing is what they do best. Let's have a meeting and a report and a meeting and a report, and nothing comes.
Right. We appear to have lost Dr. Bao there on the line. I don't know whether he's still there with me. Dr. Makoba, good afternoon. Yes, I don't think we have him. We'll see if we can re-establish a connection to Dr. Makoba. He is a political scientist, and according to him, as of this very moment, he's no longer a member of the New Patriotic Party. Of course, the meeting is still ongoing at the party, not at the party, at the Lisa Hotel here in Accra. The leadership of the party, the National Chair, General Secretary, the National Executive Committee, the Council of Elders, and the Steering Committee, they've all come together to hold this particular meeting. Doctor, I don't know if you can hear me now. Well, yeah, so we'll try and see how best the party deal with this matter. Professor Aaron Mike Okwe, who led the 12-member committee to put together this report, he's presented his report to the General Secretary of the party. And then I'm sure that currently ongoing in this closed session is for the party members to come together to see the content of this report and then look at how best they can comply with the recommendations that is contained therein, and then we can look. But remember that the Ashanti Regional Secretariat of the party put together a similar committee led by the former majority leader and former member of parliament for Swami in the Ashanti Regional Chairman Sabonsu, and he came up with a report that sought to put the blame on certain individuals, including the former president, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. Among the recommendations that he came to was the fact that the party must develop a comprehensive code of conduct to regulate the conduct of party officers, presidential candidates, president, parliamentary candidates, MPs, government appointees. He says these people must sign the document upon assumption into any role and be made to bear the consequences therein when they flout any of the rules. He also makes the point that when the party is in government, the party must have the power to investigate any suspected corrupt scandal and make recommendations to the president for the necessary action to be taken. And there should be standing committee to do that at all times. You know, the claim is that President Akufo-Addo, you know, made himself a clearing agent. I mean, he was not responding to allegations of corruption. He said there was nothing to be investigated. The reason why he didn't spend any time to investigate them. The party recommendation from the Osei Mensah Committee is that the party in government must have the power to investigate any suspected corrupt scandal and then make recommendation to the president for the necessary action. The party must also have a performance tracker to monitor and reward hard-working MPs. Parameters should include a person's performance in parliament, the number of visitations to his constituency, and other matters. And the party must also expand the base by allowing all MPP card-bearing members in good standing the opportunity to vote. So that's what you have on your screens now, part of the recommendations by the Osei Mensah Bonsu Committee. And I'm absolutely certain that it will situate well in the overall national, response to why the MPP lost in the 2024 election, which is now a matter before the National Council meeting of the MPP taking place at the Alisa Hotel. We'll take you back to that place as and when we have something to talk about. But there on your screens now is the outcome of the Osei Mensah Bonsu Committee that was set up to investigate the poor performance of the MPP in the Ashanti region. And they visited all the 47 constituencies of the party, put together this report plus recommendations, presented it, and now is a matter that is of public knowledge. So we'll do that. Let me take you back to the Alisa Hotel now. My colleague Kenneth Jesse is still lurking around to see if we can get buys from MPP members who have gathered to understand why they lost the 2024 elections. So Kenneth, is anything significant happening now? Right, so we are there live. This was the pictures you are seeing. This was before the meeting got underway when the party's flag bearer in the last election, Dr. Mamadou Bawumia, together with his running mate, Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh, made their entry to the Alisa Hotel before the commencement of the meeting. The meeting is now underway and is behind closed doors at the Alisa Hotel. Nana Akufo-Addo, the former president, is also there. The minority leader, Alexander Fenyomakin, the party national executive, the chairman, general secretary, organizer, and the other leading members of the party. Everybody who matters in the MPP is there. They want to understand why they lost the 2024 elections. Let me conclude with you, Dr. Amwakoba. I mean, it's a tall list of recommendations by Mr. Osei Mensah Bonsu. I mean, I asked you early on about your advice to the party as a political scientist. The party came under a lot of criticism for the way it handled corruption allegations. The recommendation amongst them is asking that when such allegations are made, when the party is in power, they should take steps to investigate and make recommendations to the president. There must be a standing committee to do that every time there is an allegation to be made. You think it should even apply to the current administration? Well, Doctor, if you can unmute for me so we can hear you.
Yes. You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. So, yes.
Okay.
So, I don't know what your take will be on this as as I conclude with you on this matter.
Okay. What is happening is just that. That's what I say. Because in Chile, they say, we've been done a If we could reform the party from within, that would have been the best thing to do. But those who are causing trouble are still in charge. So how do you reform it? You can't. And they will not lie down for you to come and take it over or sack them from the party. They need to be sacked. Some people need to be sacked, removed. And others should be pulled back. Not that you shouldn't be in the party. You shouldn't be the one deciding things for the party. It is by his actions that will make this colossal end. And so he should be removed from behaving as if he is the one in charge of the party. He's no longer the president, so he should retire, go back there.
In fact, per the party's own constitution, he will now join the elite league of Council of Elders of the MPP.
Yes, yes. That is appropriate position for him to take. And let the party find its own way through these things. Not you, at every corner, he wants to decide. Why? This is the problem. Even now, he wants to decide. I don't understand. And this is why it is not working. And there are many people who are not able to speak up. Understand? For example, look, I was so sad when I saw that the president were engaged in some shenanigans to force people to vote for Bawumia, when I knew that if everything was free and fair, Bawumia would have won anyway, most likely. But bringing himself in it this way made people angry. That you have to tell us who to vote for too. Where is the democracy? This is the problem.
My final question for you, Dr. Makoba, is the fact that remember after the party's Superdelegates Congress, and the things that went on, according to some individuals, including Mr. Alan Chematem, he left the party because, according to the party, did not take steps to address the concerns he had raised, and that led to him forming his own movement to contest the last election. Kenya Japan had serious issues with the way the Superdelegates Congress was conducted. Now that the party is in opposition and seeking to rebuild itself, make it more attractive to the electorates, how should they handle internal contests such that they can preserve the unity that they need so badly ahead of 2028?
First of all, there should be a completely different body that looks at things. You cannot have the same makeup of this body year in and year out. When we are in office, this body can easily be corrupt. And so they follow the president. This is what Mr. Pianim said. This is what I've said. They don't look at it. They do what the president wants, not what needs to be done. This is the problem. They don't see it, you see. And if you keep the same body year in and year out, this is what it's going to be. And there will be no alternative of redress. And so you get upset, you leave the party, all sorts of things will happen. Yeah, they are not looking at it.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Makoba. Thank you so much. My colleague Kenneth Jesse is there. We'll also be speaking to political scientist with the University of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Asante. Okay, let me bring in Dr. Asante. Dr. Asante, Professor Michael Kwe says that he's done his work. He's presented a report to the General Secretary of the party. It is now up to the party to decide what to do with the report. What do we expect of the party? What do we expect the party to do going forward now that they obviously understand why it lost the 2024 elections?
You know, after every election, you need to have a soul searching as to what went wrong. So it's a good thing they've done, taking the trouble to find out what went wrong. Now, when you get to know, then you have to, try and deal with the problems. Obviously, the report will come out with problems that need solutions. So then you begin to address the problems, the national ones, the regional ones, the constituency-specific ones. And then you try to bring everybody on board. And that is how you build a party.
We are not likely to even know the content, at least for now, because in times past, the party has always made sure that the document doesn't get into the public domain. But because of the high stakes around this and the fact that a lot of people are already giving their own reasons why the party lost, wouldn't it be proper that this document is made public so that the party can begin the process of healing and getting united as they want?
Oh, obviously, it will get to the public because the information in there, they are working with people.
Of course.
So bits and pieces will come out for people to know. Because I don't see the point that you want to hide it. Maybe certain specific strategic reasons, but obviously the report will find expression in the public and then we'll know the content. But what they have to do is that they have to be honest to the findings and then implement them accordingly. If they want to shortchange the process, if they want to, gloss over some of them, if they want to treat some very important than others, obviously it will have a boomerang effect.
The only report we can make reference to is the one that Oseche Mensah put together and presented to the Ashanti Regional Secretariat of the party's biggest stronghold. In fact, with 47 districts across the country. And the conclusion it came to was the fact that the leadership style of President Akufo-Addo was not something a lot of people welcome. In fact, they describe him as, single-minded, intransigent, his family's role in government, some of comments he made, Kennedy Japan description of MPP supporters, for want of a better word, as stupid, the disconnect that existed between government officials and the base of the party, how the party organized its internal elections, the selection of parliamentary candidates, and of course, the presidential candidates, are all things that Osei Mensah Chebun's will come to the conclusion that it did not help the party. And so the disgruntlement started even within the party and culminated into the national picture. Do we expect to see a similar trend across the country?
Oh, obviously, because Ashanti region is a microcosm of the country, I can tell you. So what reflects there, or what happens there, should be a reflection of, to a large extent, the general situation in the country. Even though you see in terms of voter psychology and all that, because it's a stronghold of the party, some of the things will differ a little bit. But to a large extent, we are going to see semblance of that report that was done in Ashanti region being replicated all over the country. And we are not to expect something different at all.
What role do you expect former President Akufo-Addo to play going forward? Know that the MPP quest to win the next election will be based on the record of Akufo-Addo between 2017 and 2024.
I would have loved him sitting somewhere on the quiet as a statesman, where there's a need for the party to go and consult, he consults. But if you want to meddle in the day-to-day affairs of the party and also still want to operate behind the scenes and have his say within the party, then the ding-dong battle will not going to end now.
And then finally...
Because there are a number of people who are against his leadership style, who are against his actions and what have you, and that they will not want to see him actively participating from behind the scenes to control affairs. They don't want to see that. So it is important if he can stay out and then be a statesman, where there's a need for people to go in and go and consult, they do that. And then that will save the situation. Because now the forces within the party, especially the center forces, I can see from where I sit that they are not going to sit down. They are going to grab the party and stay out, make sure that they provide a leadership man that will really people battle whoever and go and consult from the NDC. They do that 2020. And then...
All right. Dr. Asante, my final question before I let you go.
That will save...
Yes. Yeah, thank you so much. My final question before I let you go. In terms of how the party will organize the upcoming elections from the constituency to the regional to the national will be key in how they mobilize everybody together ahead of the 2028 elections. Now already, we are hearing some members of the party say that Dr. Bawumia has already been marketed, and for that reason, he should be the one to go. Kennedy Japan has made it clear that he will contest in the 2023 elections. How do we expect the party to be fair and transparent in the organization of its internal elections? Because it was the key, it was the main reason why people like Alan Chamantin and others fell out from the party.
One of the things that they need people to go in and go is that
because it was the key,
it was the main
reason why people like
express after their primaries. They need to deal with all those problems, the disagreements, the conflicts within, the intra-party differences. They should address that. Once they are able to get over this, then they allow the process to roll without any interference as to who become the leader of the party in the next primaries that they want to have. If you are going to see people who are going to use all means necessary, including financial resources and all that, to bulldoze their way, twist the hands of people, then you are going to have what? The crisis being deepened within the party. But I'm sure that it is a party that has leadership, or its members, some of them have been so experienced that they don't want to welcome this type of phenomena to occur within the party. So they want to make sure that they sanitize the process. But we are in for, the party is in for, if they don't handle things well, let me put it this way, they are in for very difficult situation that they have to contend with.
All right.
If they get things right, then they can have a sail trip to the primaries.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Kwame Asante from the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana. Thank you so much for your contribution to this very discussion. Now, you have also been talking about this matter, but I'll bring you your comments shortly. But let me take you back to the Alisa Hotel as we wrap up on this segment of the show. Kenneth, is anything significant happening?
Well, in the last 10 or so minutes, nothing has changed. Nothing significant has happened, but I spoke to a few of the party supporters who refused to speak to me on camera, and it appears that President Akufo-Addo has become a polarizing figure within the party, because 3 of them said that they wanted him to have stayed off this particular meeting, and 2 are saying that he's not to blame for the woes of the country during the tail end of his administration. So I've been speaking to a few of the supporters, soliciting their ideas on what they think the outcome is. Of course, they've been telling me that they are not expecting any shocks at all. Whatever the report presents to them, they will not be shocked, but they're saying that President Akufo-Addo, some are divided, that he should stay a bit back. He should take a back seat since he's now a former president, but others say he should play an active role in the party. So I've also seen the former information minister, Oboshi Sai-Kofi, also leave the premise. I don't know whether she is returning as well. And in the last 15 minutes, the former Speaker of Parliament, Aaron Michael Okwe, has also exited the premise. He is the chairman of that 12-member committee that was set up to investigate what led to the defeat of the New Patriotic Party. But as we speak now, no other person apart from these 2, Oboshi Sai-Kofi and Aaron Michael Okwe, have exited Alisa Hotel. All the people that entered here in the early hours of today are still engaged in that particular meeting, and we are still here standing by waiting for the outcome of whatever that meeting is going to be.
All right, thank you so much. Kenneth Jesse is my man on the ground at the Alisa Hotel. The NPP National Council is meeting, and the National Council is made up of the National Executive Committee, the Steering Committee, the Council of Elders, and of course they are meeting to deliberate on the outcome of a report by a 12-member committee that was tasked to investigate the party's electoral defeat in the 2024 general elections and offer recommendations to address them. Professor Aaron Michael Okwe has presented his report. It's now up to the General Secretary of the party and those at the meeting to take a decision on it. And that decision, I'm sure, won't happen today, but trust Joy is bringing you details from the report as we move on. But you have also been talking, let me go on social media to read some of your comments as the MPP take a stock-taking exercise or a post-mortem exercise at the Alisa Hotel. So Robert Fiajo says, in your head. Another person says, Bawumia is next to lead, next president to 2028. We are sorry we didn't come out to vote, and we should show up in 2028 to do the needful. Also, Clinton says MPP will never come back to power. And then High Life Governor says 2028 is for MPP and Bawumia, next president, and no candidate can win him from the NDC. And another person says, appointed hour, wasting your time. So the debate is ongoing on our social media handle, on X Spaces, on Facebook, and of course on YouTube. Somebody says, why should Joy News continue to recognize and address Dr. Amakoba, Dr. Nyao Tamaklu, and Dr. Kennedy as MVP Star Wars? Where you heard Dr. Amakoba says that he's no longer a member of the NDC. And then, so those are some of the comments on our Facebook, where you can join the conversation with your comment as well. And this is the pause here on Joy News. We'll take a short break and return with other stories. Stay put. Welcome back. This is the pause here on Joy News. Now let's talk business. The Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism has pledged tax waivers to boost private sector growth and job creation. Tax break for multinational companies have sparked controversy, notably in the last parliament, when the minority opposed a $350 million waiver proposed by the previous government. However, during a visit to Zonda, Ghana, Committee Chair Alexander Gabi Hotowozi said the committee stands ready to back the private sector in line with the government job creation agenda.
Parliament has selected, we are to oversight whatever we do. And we have the recognition that the private sector is the engine of growth. So Parliament of Ghana always tries to encourage the private sector to do well. That is the more reason why the Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism is always encouraged to visit the various factories and industries to acquaint themselves with the problem that they go through, what they do, and what we as Parliament can do to support you. We always support industries that abide by our laws. We always support industries that contribute meaningfully to our GDP, and we always respect industries that make sure that a lot of our people are engaged. Here we are. We don't know the challenges you go through anyway. But whatever you tell us, that will position us to give you a lot of support as parliamentary as a parliamentary committee. Whatever you tell us, we'll be able to help you. Because we have heard good news about you, our eyes will continue to be on you. We will pay you visits from time to time, so that we'll be very, very conversant with your operations, and whatever we will do to support in the form of tax release and others, we'll be ready to champion your cause on the floor of Parliament. And because we want to encourage companies that are doing well to expand so that they can employ a lot of our people. You know, the idle hand is a tool for the devil. So if your youth are there and they are not getting work to do, they'll be tempted to embark upon armed robbery and other things. Yes. So we want to encourage these companies that are doing well. Our leader in Parliament is solidly behind us. This morning we had a chat, and he encouraged us that we'll be going around during these holidays, we'll be going around, we'll visit those serious-minded companies, encourage them so that they will expand and absorb a lot of people, of our people to work in them.
Well, the Chief Executive Officer of Zanda, Yang Yang, has also pledged to support the women empowerment agenda by offering more job opportunities to women.
For me, myself, because I am a lady, echoing our chairman's encouragement, and I also want to focus on the point of women empowerment. You see, our Ghanaian ladies, I learned 51% are female. That is why I think by becoming an entrepreneur in Ghana, we can also erect a spirit in Ghana for women's entrepreneurship and advocating for more jobs for women. I encourage more female to join Zonda. You can come to Zonda. I can personally train them. You know, by training them, it's not only by training them in technology. Technology is only one aspect of life. I can train them spiritually, how to become a strong woman in the family, to fight the husband financially. No, how to become a good help to the husband financially. So, all in all, I want to thank our committee for visiting Zonda.
And of course, President Mahama has revealed that 90,000 people applied for the 1 million coders program within 48 hours of its launch, signaling the overwhelming demand for job opportunity among Ghanaian youth. Now, speaking at official launch in Accra, he announced a decentralized rollout with training set to take place in information and community centers across district, municipalities, and metropolitan areas. The initiative is a key part of government contract with Ghanaians and a major campaign promise he pledged to fulfill within his first 120 days in office. Maswala Gbagba has more. All right, before we bring you that coldest story from President Mahama, let me quickly touch base with Honorable Alexander Gabi, who is the chair of the Trade and Industry Committee. Honorable, so this waiver that you may extend to businesses, in what form will it take, knowing the history the NDC had with waivers before Parliament in the last Parliament?
Good afternoon, or good evening, and good evening to your cherished listeners. I think I earlier explained this thing to teams. When I say we'll help them with some tax release and others, it doesn't necessarily mean that we'll just be granting tax waivers just like that. The tax, definitely, because we stood against the $350 million, it doesn't mean they will not just grant tax waivers in this country again. But it must be regulated in such a way that nobody suspects anything. You understand? So my argument is yes, government will still be doing these things for companies to grow and give employment to our people. But it must be done in a regulated manner. And that one, I can assure you, the NDC government create the continual atmosphere through some of these things, but it will be duly regulated.
Okay. So if I may ask, under what condition would a company, for example, qualify for tax waiver?
I think when you are coming to, maybe you want to expand your industry, and maybe you bring some items to support in doing so. The only way government can create a congenial atmosphere for you is to maybe waive the tax on some of these items so that you can bring them in their numbers and achieve that aim of expansion so that you can hook on a lot of our people in terms of job.
And these were the same conditions that that the MPP used in granting tax waivers, and you had issues with it.
My brother, it is the same group of people who supported the tax waivers over the years. This is my third term in Parliament, but in a situation where the thing is becoming too much, where there is some level of chronism that is being identified, you need to hold back. Tax waivers, not for tax waivers' sake. It must be done in a regulatory manner.
So you say that under the MPP there will not be chronism?
You say what?
You say that under the NDC administration there will be no room for chronism in the granting of tax waivers.
Wait until we get there. I can assure you there will not be anything like that.
All right. Finally, in your rounds, what major challenge did you identify with the businesses that you visited?
Yeah, we went to only Zonda Tech.
Okay.
And we saw that they are actually doing very well. Now, when we went to where they are now trying to open a new factory for electric cars, we saw that there are a lot of slums around the place. Slums around the place, and it's not healthy.
Okay.
That is what we have realized. There are a lot of slums. My brother, if you see them, it's a problem. And I don't know how we can handle this. I think we must find a way of handling it. A lot of slums surrounding the place. And it doesn't make it good at all.
And is it in any way impacting on the work of Zonda, the slums?
Yeah, you know, when they want to develop further, there will be a problem. I foresee that. Because this is a factory that started in its own small way, but where they've got into now, you'll be proud of them. And when we go to the heavy equipment assembling point, I mean, it's so nice. And around that place, there are a lot of farms, my brother. And they are trying to establish an electric car manufacturing plant there. And with the slums, I think something must be done about it.
So I'm guessing this will be part of your recommendation to the plenary when the House is in session. By that time, I'm sure we would have visited.
Yeah, when the reports are put together, these were things I am not the only person who saw it.
Okay.
This was something that my other colleagues also complained about. And there are other things. I think they are doing well. We encourage them to open more branches so that they can employ a lot of our people. And we also use the opportunity to talk to our Ghanaian brothers there, that they actually, the job exists. That is why they are also existing. If they don't handle the job as their own and attach much importance, and the job is off, they will equally be off.
Right.
So they must learn to be loyal. They must learn to do the right thing. And we also warn the Chinese counterpart that more often than not, some of them think that they've given a job to our people, so they must handle them. They do all kinds of, they don't respect them in any way.
Right.
That must stop. We will not allow them to do that to our people. They must respect our people. They must do, because they are in their own land, they are on their own land, they must respect them. They must do everything so that there will be coexistence and harmony at the way place.
All right. Honorable, thank you so much. And I'm guessing that you also visit Ghanaian industries as well in these rounds that you are undertaking.
We do.
Okay.
We do. Thank you very much.
And that's the chairman of the Trade and Industry Committee of Parliament, Honorable Gami Otuwoze. Of course, President Mahama, the story I brought to you early on, today revealed that 90,000 people applied for the 1 million coders program within 48 hours of its launch, signaling the overwhelming demand for job opportunity among Ghanaian youth. Speaking at the official launch in Accra, he announced a decentralized rollout with training set to take place in information and community centers across districts, municipality, and metropolitan areas. The initiative is a key part of his social contract with Ghanaians and a major campaign promise he pledged to fulfill within his first 120 days. And by the way, the government is 100 days old in office today. Masala Gbagba has more in this report.
This is one of the classrooms for the 1 million coders program, and you can see behind me students are seated as classes is in session. Some of the successful applicants who have been speaking to say this program will go a long way to help them in their digital journey. One of them, Yaya, who spoke to me, said the course that she'd wanted to study was going to cost her a lot of money, and they were quoting prices in dollars. She says she feels privileged to be a beneficiary of this program for free.
Even to talk about online platforms, you would have to pay not in Ghana cedis, but actually in dollars to take a course like this. Yes, you have to pay in dollars. So when I saw the opportunity that this is like for free, I was like very eager. I had to apply on the spot because I've seen online applications where you have to pay in dollars for you to enroll in courses like this and have to pay to get your certificate as well. So I thought, if this is free, I mean, why not? This is an opportunity. This is like something you have to take advantage of. So I had to, rush and take it. So yeah.
So overall, would you say it's a good program?
Yes, it's definitely a very good program because, the space of cyber is something that's very relevant. And I think as a country, we're taking the bold step to educate or to give our people the knowledge they need in this space is very, very necessary. Okay, so what I'm hoping to become after my studies here, I'm hoping to get into maybe one of the reputable companies here and then work as a tier 1 SOC manager. So that is for entry level. So at least the technical skills and the theoretical skills I gain here should be able to get me into a company. Should be able to get me into a company as a tier 1 SOC personnel, yes.
President Mahama launched the 1 million coders program some minutes ago. He says the program will be decentralized in communities for many young Ghanaian people to benefit from it.
The third point, education and lifelong learning. Through the OMCP, we're not only skilling our youth, we're reshaping our national approach to learning. The Honorable Minister for Communications is already working closely with the Minister of Education to integrate digital literacy and coding into our university and technical school curricula. The first cohort of 560 trainees launching today in Accra, Kumasi, Sunyani, and Bolgatanga already reflects our commitment to gender balance and regional inclusivity. Moreover, within just 48 hours of opening applications, over 50,000 young Ghanaians registered their interest, and the Minister has updated that figure to 90,000.
All right, let me take you back to the MPP ongoing meeting at the Alisa Hotel. My colleague, Kenneth Jesse, is now engaging with the MPP Director of Communication, Richard Anyagba, on this closed-door meeting. Let's listen in. So we'll try and get in
throughout the entire day. Richard, it's been hours. It's been hours since the meeting commenced. What can you tell us?
Well, thank you very much. I think we had a National Executive Committee meeting earlier and then transitioning into National Council meeting. The committee, the 2024 election
somebody will pin this.
Came to present their report to National Council. That report, generally, we've accepted it, and a committee has been put together to work on some of the recommendations in that report going forward. So that's the extent to which I can give you information right now.
Is that report going to be made public?
I don't think so, because it's an internal document that will be used to aid the party's reform process to position us for victory in 2020. So I can guarantee you, even though it's not expressly stated, it is implied that that document cannot be a public document, I think.
But we know that the MPP is a political party. You deal with numbers. Your supporters would like to know really what happened.
Well, there's a way our supporters will know about it without it being public. So it's a working document. It's a document that the party is going to work to. Most of the recommendations there will be key in what we do now till election 2028. Yeah.
It's 4 now, getting to 5. How long should we wait till we hear something from the party?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of conversations going on there, and I'm very sure that in a matter of time now, it shouldn't be too long. You've been here since morning, I should say, so maybe in a matter of hours, we should be wrapping up. And I think that the General Secretary, supported by the National Chairman, would give a press conference immediately after the discussions there.
Okay. Thank you very much. I know you're a very busy man. So that's the communications director of the New Patriotic Party, Richard Anyagba, who has just told us that they will brief the press the moment the meeting is over, but they have said that they will not make the document of the report public, but of course they find a way to tell their supporters some of the things that led to their defeat. So we're still hanging by here at the Alisa Hotel, waiting for the final or the conclusion of this meeting and really hear what really transpired and what the party has decided going forward.
Thank you so much, Kenneth Jesse, of course, from the Alisa Hotel. Of course, now you know it's official. The document is before the leadership of the MPP as they try to understand the content of it. Of course, we'll be here. There shall be a news conference after the closed-door session where the General Secretary will now speak to the media on the outcome of the meeting. But what is made clear is that the report will not be made public, but trust Joy News that we'll find a way to bring that to the public domain. Now, the fate of your biometric data is uncertain. As Minister for Communications, Sam George reveals he cannot locate it under the Akufo-Addo administration. A nationwide SIM card registration captured the biometric data of millions of Ghanaians aimed at streamlining cybersecurity. But more than 60 days into his tenure, Minister Sam George told my colleague Evans Mensah on PM Express that there is no trace of the data.
That what the previous minister was doing had no basis in law, had no technical logic to it, and was completely flawed when you subjected it to a common sense test. Because you needed to, you claimed that you were doing a registration and benchmarking it to the Ghana card. Remember that. We were told that you could not register without the Ghana card. Yes. Now, the only way you can verify the authenticity of a Ghana card, because it is not just a piece of plastic card, but it's a biometrically enabled device that holds biometric data. You can only verify the authenticity of the claim of the holder of that card when you cross-reference it against the biometric data that is contained on that card. In no single instance, they say they registered 39,900,000, a few shy of 40 million SIM cards. Not one of the almost 40 million SIM cards they registered was verified against the NIA. Not one.
Really?
Yes. The NIA is the only repository that holds that as a single source of truth. So what you do, common sense, logic, is you subject what the card Bernard Evans has brought. Evans Mensah comes with a card. The card says it's Evans Mensah. You look at it, and then he gives you his Ghana card number. You enter it. But what makes that card authentic is his biometrics. That's why when you take your Ghana card to the bank, for them to do the transaction, they give you a biometric verification device for you to put your finger on and verify that it is you. No such verification was done. In fact, what they rather did was to now capture your 10 fingerprints again. In some instances, take a facial recognition again of you, but not cross-reference it against the single source of truth. So the question you must ask, from a data protection perspective, is all of that data that was taken, your fingerprints that were taken, where's that data sitting? It wasn't cross-referenced against anyone. Where is that sitting? What I intend to do at the ministry is to build a platform that's not going to be managed by a private entity. It's going to be owned and managed by the NCA. The NCA is going to have end-to-end control because the NCA is the regulator.
So let's try to understand this in a few minutes. So, Maximus Ametogo, this is your area. First, let me find out from you, if indeed the data is missing, I mean, what does it mean? And is my bio in any danger of falling into wrong hands? Hello, Mr. Ametogo. If you can unmute for me.
Right. So it's quite surprising to hear Honorable, my brother saying that they don't know where the data is. If the syncing wasn't done or the verification wasn't done, that is the next step they should take. But to say that the data we collected as government, they don't know where exactly the data has been stored, is quite surprising.
Yes, and indeed surprise for everybody because obviously, I'm not sure that the former minister will carry it with her. as she exited office. But I mean, the key question for a lot of people is that is our bio, is our key information, is it in any way in danger because the minister says he can't find it?
I'm not sure to be in danger because, you know, there are protocols governing the use of data and how data is collected and managed in Ghana. So they will follow those protocols as government, because when they are going to sue the institution. They won't go and sue the previous government or the minister. So I'm not sure if it's NCA that is in charge or whoever that is in charge, they will just give the data away or will not secure the data and will fall into the hands of wrong people.
But if this is Mason, where should be our first port of call? Because I know that when the SIM registration commenced, it was the telcos that got people to undertake the registration. So the data, obviously, maybe the primary story would have been the telcos, isn't it?
The storage will not be with the telcos, possibly with maybe NCA. You may sit with them, and then the telcos are just points where people go and register. And it sits just like the way your Momo sits in the bank account, not on the software that is on your app. Right? So I'm sure NCA should know where it is. We can't say we don't know where the data is. It will be surprising.
And it will be simply impossible to describe it as missing too.
Yes, you can't say it's missing because you've collected people's data. And there are laws governing how you protect the data so that the data subject's information will not be compromised by any person, including the one who collected it. So if you are not going to use the data or don't know where the data is, so now are we going to do the re-registration now? Because that's what comes to mind now. If the data, the old one is not there, that means we are going to collect a new one. It means we are going to go through the process all over again.
In fact, the minister has already signaled process to undertake another registration of SIM cards.
Yeah, because initially we were told that they would do a software to do authentication and verification and all that, and liveliness test. It means they are going to use existing data to authenticate whether the person who is using or the person using a particular phone number is really the owner of that number. Now that we know the data that has been collected is missing or don't know where it is, then you cannot do the authentication of my number without collecting my details. Unless you tell me, okay, NCA has my phone numbers already. So I'm going to pull the information from the NIA database to do the authentication without me going to queue to register again or scan my face or take a picture of my fingers to, send to a system for the verification of my identity or as a user of a phone number.
All right.
It's quite difficult.
It is. Thank you so much, Maximus, for your explanation today. Before we go now, despite several military raids in the Tano Forest Reserve, illegal mining activities persist, with more intruders encroaching on the protected land. Clean Jobs, the legal concessionaire mandated to protect the reserve, recently sponsored a military operation that led to the seizure of 19 excavators. In the first raid this Tuesday, the company has again moved to clamp down on activity, this time seizing 4 more excavators and arresting some suspects.
When we arrived here, they had already taken all their belongings and left. We met them just as we got here. So we are now burning down their makeshift structures. We managed to track their equipment to the roadside. So from here, we will head there and retrieve them. When we got here, they had already moved the equipment into town. We have identified where they took it, and we've instructed the military to guard the location while we work on arrangements to transport the equipment. We are currently burning down their structures.
Well, the chairman of the Parliament Select Committee on Lands and Natural Resources, Collins Dauda, has called for the creation of a permanent military task force dedicated to combating illegal mining on Ghana's water bodies and in forest reserves. He argues that previous efforts have failed to deliver lasting results, dismissing them as knee-jerk reaction.
East, 70% of Ghana's rivers and streams, despite flowing in their usual quietude, are the loudest seen to observe traveling across the country. Their abrupt change from a once colorless and refreshing natural resource into a milky sludge is not an elusive sight to behold. Rivers like Ankobra, Pra, or Fane, the black and white Volta, are now heavily polluted with residues from illegal mining operations on water bodies. The situation continues to deprive many communities along these water resources access to potable water for drinking and domestic purposes. Aquatic life is now endangered.
Almost a basket full, very short and nice. But nowadays, the fish has become long and the fin have been changed.
The Minerals and Mining Act 2006, Act 703, and the Environmental Protection Act 2025, Act 1124, prohibits mining in or near river bodies. But the vicious quest of the illegal miners for a source of livelihood compels them to defy the laws at the peril of both their lives and others. The water bodies aren't the only natural resource at the mercy of the illicit activity. The country's forest reserves are now targets. Successive governments instituted a raft of strategic measures to halt illegal mining operations, including occasional military raids, but they seem to have failed. Describing such measures as knee-jerk, Chairman of Parliament's Select Committee on Lands and Natural Resource, Collins Dauda, says the government must change its strategies in fighting the canker.
Galamsey that take place in water bodies, like rivers, where you have people mining directly in the bed of rivers. We cannot accept it. Illegal operators who enter our forest reserves to mine illegally, that cannot be acceptable. The practice where when we hear there's an illegal operation in Tanofin Forest Reserve and we'll deploy a task force, they go in there for a number of days, they hide. When the task force leaves, they go back to the side. You can never resolve this matter this way. That, for me, I describe as a knee-jerk reaction to solving a problem.
The Asutifi South MP is proposing the establishment of a permanent military task force to fight the illegal activities on Ghana's water bodies and forest reserves.
And to deal with it, my view is that we can have a unit of the military, deploy them to be permanently around the river bodies, permanently stationed in the forest reserves. Nobody will dare do it. If we're able to do it for a number of years, it will die completely. We'll protect our water bodies and protect our forest reserves.
For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
Right, so that's our show for today, Tuesday, countdown to Easter. But there's more stories on myjoyonline.com. MPP 2024 Election Defeat Committee presents investigative report to the national leadership, plus other stories on myjoyonline.com. Remember, tonight, our sister station, HFM, is holding a watch party for the football game between Real Madrid and Arsenal, who's going to qualify to the next stage of the competition. You have that as well. So, folks, Real Madrid, Arsenal, who's going to make it? Well, as Liverpool and soft spot for Barcelona, I'm going all out for Arsenal. But whatever you are up to in the hours ahead, I hope is profitable. My name is Elton Bobby. Same time tomorrow, we shall be here to bring you another exciting edition of The Pulse as we gear up for the Easter celebrations. Good evening and take care.